This is Roundtable Sunday, Florida Maquis Patreon channel. If you are here, you are at the $15 subscription level. This particular group of my supporters, I know, has suffered a great deal for what's been going on in Venezuela and the holidays, the giveaway, my health, all this. It seems like, I don't know why it's just been that way. Specific videos for just the Roundtable haven't been to the standard that I've wanted them to be, and we're going to fix that. I just wanted to let you guys know that I was aware of it. I think what we're going to start off by doing is something a little bit different, in the sense that where the Roundtable meets on Sunday to talk about psychological operations we can identify in the media, Mondays, Mickey Masters being ones that we're running, this is kind of both for me, this map that we have used at the YouTube channel multiple times to illustrate the idea of emotional thinking and how sometimes people who are believing that they're thinking are actually feeling. Now, I have honestly contacted some of my compatriots from my intelligence days to try to bounce this off somebody why these videos, for some reason, over and over and over again, are getting these absolutely ridiculous, insane view rates. When a good portion, the vast majority, of the commenters disagree with the assertions made in the video. This one might, in about a month or so, actually hit 1 million. It'll be my first one. If it doesn't, it's going to stop just short of it. It's 820,000 now, and it's only 2 weeks old, roughly 17 days old. Of course, the idea is that the center part is more dangerous than the coasts, and while a lot of people agree that Texas is a good choice for a green state, everyone else thinks that California's a bad choice, Florida's a bad choice, Virginia's a bad choice. Now, the idea, though, being a lot of the assumption is that if you live in California, Texas, Florida, Virginia, you automatically live in a big city. Because that's a lot of the comments I'm getting. I want to live in the country, not in the city. What are you saying? I'm like, I never said live in the city. The places that I've said have been the most dangerous from prisoners that will be released are the suburbs. I never said out in the country. Now, if you get found out in the country, way far away from nowhere, in a grid down, power down situation, and you truly are an unsupported fire base, sitting on top of a grocery store, with the only thing you have defending you is you're in trouble. This is the thing about the military, guys. A lot of people don't understand the logistics that allow for military operations. One of the worst things I think that's actually happened are these first-person shooters. I think this has destroyed the mind of a lot of young men and women that have gone into the military, believing that soldiers are these autonomous things that have unlimited ammunition and that when they kill people, bodies just magically disappear, and there's nothing to deal with that way. It's one of the reasons I had this picture up here. If it's been a week or 2 weeks, the power's been down and people are out of food, and they start to see buzzards, they're going to follow them. They're absolutely going to follow them to find meat. If something has recently died and they've been hungry for a couple weeks, people change. They really do. The difference that I've made the allegation is that these guys are a lot more accustomed to stressful life, to life without everything they need. And since they've had to learn to team up anyway in prison, because that's what you do, you have to pretty much cordon yourself off into groups, they are going to be a whammy out in the middle of nowhere to deal with, because they're going to realize, with no 911, no power systems, that they can hit a place over and over and over and over and over again, and they don't have to be in a rush. And they can take their time wearing people down. Once they realize nobody's going to try to stop them, what else are they going to do? If it's really this type of a grid down situation, there's no internet, there's very little food, and people are hungry, and, a lot of criminals do what they do now knowing what they're doing is criminal. So they try to hide it, and they take all of these efforts to keep their activities covert. In a situation like this, they won't. They won't have any reason to, because they'll feel justified. Well, I'm hungry and this person has food and I don't, and I have family to feed, or I have people I care about that are also hungry. So it's every man for himself. And when they realize the police aren't going to be stepping in, or not going to have the ability to step in, and it's just a matter of them versus the people out in the middle with guns, I think it's really hit a nerve with some of these folks, because it makes sense to them and they don't want to admit it. That they might, once they're made, if they haven't made plans to be mobile, it's over. Because they've realized they can't guard 4 cardinal directions 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year against guys like this. And this whole idea of gassing prisoners or killing prisoners is as ridiculous as it sounds. And I know I don't have to convince you guys of it, but you would think a video where people disagree, or people think that I'm crazy, or all the other names they call me, wouldn't have this level of engagement. But it's a very strange thing. When YouTube tells you, or they give you the hints about how to run a channel, find something that people like and they want to come back and see. I think it's honestly the opposite. Find something that people disagree with, they don't like, and touches a nerve, and your view rates will skyrocket. And I hate to say it, but I mean, that's literally the definition of psychological operations right there. Is that when you can get people to engage negatively at higher rates than they engage positively, that they would much rather come to one of my videos that they don't like, or they've seen, I've done videos like this before. I could see one maybe touching a nerve and then people realizing what it's all about, especially with the same thumbnail, the exact same map, the exact same picture of the same states and the same colors, has worked now, I think 9 or 10 times. And it really is. It's absolutely a crazy thing to see. The numbers of my top 5 videos. Let's see if I can bring this up here real quick. 1 second. All right, if you go to my channel and you go to videos and you set the sort to the most popular, it's ridiculous. 4 of the top 5. And the one that's number 1 right now at 871, it's taken 6 months to get there. This one at 820, this most recent one, it's taken 2 weeks. It really is an interesting study in the opposite of what you would think. That people would go to YouTube and they would engage on videos that they agree with, they like. Things that they have a positive response from. This proves the exact opposite. That people go here to find something to disagree with and then engage on it. At insane levels. It's actually, even as someone who was trained in psychological operations, stunning and surprising. And I wish I could do more in-depth polling of the people. But a lot of them are so angry with me or disagree with me so vehemently that they get to the point where I almost have to block them. All the filthy language and the threats. It's insane. All because for 13 minutes, a guy makes the allegation that when the power goes out for a long period of time, that there might be random rogue elements out there that once they realize you're a target, they're not going to stop, regardless of whether you're armed or not. Because they're going to be just as hungry and desperate as anyone else. Would you rather die slowly, starving to death, or die in an attempt to overrun a position that might have arms against you? I mean, one way or the other. And it's not like all those groups have to work together. The effect against somebody trying to hold an unsupported fire base will be as if they are working together, but they may not even know each other exists. You're just going to have to be right every single time. Only one of those groups has to be right one time. And I'm not talking about these compounds out in the middle of nowhere. All these groups will have to do is find maybe 3 or 4 or 5 houses here of elderly folks that maybe sleep really, really deep, and they can get in and get a hold of a couple shotguns and maybe a handgun, and they're going to be infinitely more powerful. And that's one of the things I fear most out in the middle. The older folks that are going to be compromised anyway because of the lack of heat, the lack of medications. And it's going to be something I think that a lot of people aren't going to see. And it's a psychological operation in the aspect that I do agree with a lot of what I'm saying, but the reason that I'm doing it is to elicit a response. So it's not like I don't believe the issue with the prisoners is going to be a threat. I think it's going to be a much bigger one than people believe. But even having admitted in open public videos that this map was designed to elicit a response, they still respond the same way. It's like telling somebody you're going to do something and then being able to do it anyway. It's almost beyond comprehension. So I will leave that there. You guys are some of the brightest and best trained because, of course, you attend your training here. And I've seen a lot of folks come to me privately and say, I've never understood that, or I never saw things in that light. And it's not me tooting my personal horn. I was trained by the U.S. Army. And the U.S. Army trains a lot of people to do this. This technique, I don't think, has been applied properly, though, in the civilian sector, when we can teach our children and teach people how to think and not what to think, and to be able to identify cognitive biases and psychological operations and all these different things that mess with our mind. I think the game of politics is going to change completely. Logic fallacies being what they are. Once people have been educated to the point where they're not susceptible to that, I think we're going to see a complete sea change in how we govern ourselves. And I will leave it there. Roundtable Sunday. Thank you guys so much. Like, share, subscribe. See you next time.